Good morning, it's 6 o'clock and welcome to the programme. The former X Factor judge, Tulisa Contostavlos, has told Good Morning Britain about her lowest moment in the battle to clear her name.
My life is ruined. It's over.
The singer also spoke to us about how the ordeal left her considering ending her own life. That interview's coming up in 20 minutes.
Also this morning, imagine spending 2 years thinking you were dying of cancer, only to be told you had been misdiagnosed. We'll meet the mum who said goodbye to her children and even made arrangements for her own funeral.
It's an extraordinary story, that. And on an up note, with a week still left to go, Scotland is already celebrating its most successful Commonwealth Games ever. Former 400-metre champion Roger Black will be here in a few minutes' time to tell us how sweet game success on home turf can be.
Well, in the meantime, let's find out what the weather is doing today. Alex is up on...
featuring on that with the PM, and also Stephen Fry and Sean Bean as well, features on the same album.
Yeah, and talking of Sean Bean, his fans have gone crazy on Twitter because they're trying to keep him alive.
He's been killed off around 20 times in any of the roles that he's been in. Obviously, there was James Bond, and I don't want to be... It's a spoiler for you if you haven't caught up with Games of Thrones, but he gets beheaded, lads, so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that was quite gruesome.
Yeah, crushed in the James Bond film, of course, he was as well. He died in Lord of the Rings as well, first up too, so he's not been very lucky.
His fans are saying, what? Can we just see the whole of Sean Bean for the whole of the series of anything?
He's in a brand new series, of course, called Legends. They just don't want him killed off. So we've got a picture of him here wearing a T-shirt that says #Don't Kill Sean Bean after the tongue-in-cheek lobbying by fans. So they're absolutely trying to keep him alive in his current job. I may start sporting a T-shirt here with the very same thing.
Richard, thank you very much for that.
Have a lovely morning.
Anyway, and a lot of you getting in touch this morning about passports, because passport staff going on strike, potentially putting hundreds of thousands of holidays at risk because there were already backlogs for people wanting to get their passport back. Lots of reaction from you this morning. Nikki, due to travel this Friday, we applied for our passports in mid-June, still haven't received them after countless phone calls. We got our local MP involved. They've spent hundreds of pounds and they're worried about losing their money, so not looking good for that holiday.
Well, Charlotte, another Charlotte, presumably not you, says, me and my partner have both had our passports back just after 3 weeks. Have had a great experience with them, getting no problems at all, though lots of people saying that's quite a rare experience.
Yes, there are lots of other ones where people are worried about their holidays. Joseph's got in touch. He hasn't got any sympathy at all, actually. He says, why do people pay for a holiday without a valid passport? More fool them. But I guess when you look at the dates and it says you should expect this back within a certain amount of time, then people think that's
exactly. And the chap from who was talking from the passport office was saying, look, if you fill it out correctly, you should get it back in time. I think there's little errors that always hold these things up.
Yeah. Keep those comments coming in this morning. Thanks for all of those. Coming up after 8:30 this morning, challenging the idea of what's normal. Comedian Francesca Martinez tells Kate how she's managed to laugh her way through living with cerebral palsy. Good morning, Britain. Overnight...
Now 6:20. Now then, she faced losing her freedom, her career and her reputation. But now Tulisa Contostavlos has spoken to Good Morning Britain about the moment she considered taking her own life.
Despite being convicted of assault in a separate case, the singer and former X Factor judge walked free from court last week when her trial on drugs charges collapsed. She was followed throughout the process by a documentary crew and recorded a video diary on the day she found out she was being charged with arranging a cocaine deal.
My life is ruined. It's over. I feel like my whole world is falling apart.
Well, I spoke to Tulisa about what was going through her head in that very moment and also what she described as a rollercoaster year.
That was just my lowest point. It just all got a bit too much for me. I'm not going to sit here, I don't, want a pity party. It was a dark time, it was a very dark moment. I was at my lowest. But, hey, I've got through it and I'm here today, and that's the main thing.
And because the trial over the drugs allegations collapsed, you haven't had a chance to clear your name. What's your side of the story?
It's just so hard to try and sit and put into a, short sentence of exactly what happened, but I was basically told I had this massive movie role offered £3.5 million. All I had to do was like a formal audition, and I was up against people like Keira Knightley, who I had to prove the reason why I was worthy of the job over someone with that much acting experience. And to do that, I had to basically make him think that I was the person in the role, which was the first ever urban ghetto British role. And that's basically what I did. So it was all acting.
And what throughout this do you think was your biggest fear?
Prison was very scary at first, but then I had to come to terms with it because I thought it was a possibility, and I came to terms with that. I accepted it. The biggest fear for me was losing my livelihood, something that I've worked for from the age of 11 years old. I just woke up one day and it was taken out of my hands.
You've talked about your drug taking, though, in the past.
Yeah.
What drugs have you taken, and when was the last time?
I've openly admitted to smoking weed, but funny enough, there are, you know, a lot of people, let's be honest, in this industry that have dabbled in whatever way, shape or form cocaine, and I am one of the very few that haven't and don't. And it's probably, I don't know, to me it feels a bit of a class thing as well.
And who out of your high-profile friends were there to support you? I mean, did you hear from Simon Cowell throughout this?
I didn't hear from many people, but do you know what? I locked myself off a lot from the world. Marvin and Rochelle, I'd definitely say, are two people that really had my back throughout. And Niall, Ryland, yeah, there was a good few.
And how hard now is it for you to trust people because of what's happened?
Yeah, it's definitely pretty tough. I'm not going to lie, it's made me pretty much a paranoid wreck when it comes to, you know, people. You're always just looking over your shoulder.
Tulisa!
How have you changed? What do you want to say about, you know, who Tulisa is now?
Well, I was never really that much of a bad girl in the first place. It was, you know, it was part of my, it's like your alter ego, your entertainment persona. That's what it was. But now, I suppose I'm even further from that person. Yeah, I've grown a lot. I feel like I'm a woman now. I've learnt a lot in the past year. It's been a journey, it's been a lesson, and I feel like I am a better, stronger person for it.
Well, Tulisa's trial collapsed after the judge said he believed a journalist working for The Sun, Mazhar Mahmood, may have lied, giving evidence. The Sun told us that Mr Mahmood was suspended immediately and an investigation will be carried out. It said it would continue to undertake responsible investigative journalism in the public interest.
Well, we're joined now by Jonathan Levi, who spent the last 11 months filming Tulisa for a documentary which goes out tonight. Good morning to you. I mean, we see there what a year it's been for her, and you were there following every step of the way, essentially, weren't you? So how hard was it for her? You saw firsthand just what she was going through.
Well, it was the worst year of her life, and she says that quite clearly in the documentary. She said that, you know, in the interview with you. She was extremely emotionally fragile. She was very paranoid. She felt that there was a conspiracy, that people were out to get her from all sides and all quarters. She cut herself off, as she said. She shrunk her circle right down to a very few close friends and family and her PA Gareth, and they lived together. And she became a recluse, really. She didn't say anything publicly, and she had no work, no endorsements, nothing going on. She just worked out and stayed quiet and tried to keep it together.
And as I think we see in a clip from your documentary, it took her to the brink, didn't it? Let's take a look at that.
Picked up like 11 coke and we just nicked him with a bottle of vodka, even though what I was planning to do. And I was like, oh, should just end it, should just get on with it and just never have to feel like this ever again.
Do you mean kill yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, that situation was in more detail chronicled in one of the papers, the Daily Mirror this morning, saying that she took a whole lot of painkillers and with a bottle of vodka. And she's lucky to be here.
Well, that was in December, and she was arrested last summer. She waited for 6 months to find out whether she would even be charged. And finally, when the news came through that she was to be charged, she just couldn't cope, and she took that overdose. Luckily, her PA Gareth was with her in the flat. They called an ambulance, and they managed to keep it quiet. But she was absolutely on the brink.
She's talked about, you know, who the real Tulisa is, how she has this public persona. What did you see change about her? Because she also says, you know, it's been a year of enlightenment, in a sense, for her, that she's, you know, gone through a transition as a consequence.
Well, I remember her talking about it in relation to the clothes that she wore, that she was wearing kind of trouser suits and smart clothes to court that she said a year previously she would never have worn. She says in the documentary she feels like a woman now. I think she has grown up enormously, really, and has taken on a kind of a maturity and a seriousness that she didn't have before.
We'll talk to you further later in the programme. For the time being, Jonathan, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Well, you can see that documentary tonight on BBC 3 at 10 p.m. and you can also watch our full interview with Tulisa on itv.com/GMB.
In the next half hour, all the action from the Commonwealth Games with former champion Roger Black, and find out why the passport backlog could be about to get a whole lot worse.
Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Britain. Up to 500,000 people are waiting for their passports. Now a strike could add to the chaos. We'll ask the unions why they're taking action in 15 minutes' time.
And imagine being told you have cancer, then 2 years later being told it was a mistake. It's a reality for one month. We have an astonishing story coming up.
And Scotland's enjoying a record medal haul at this year's Commonwealth Games, but will the winning streak continue? We'll speak to the former champion, Roger Black.
Our top story, the United Nations has called for an immediate and unconditional end to the hostilities in the Middle East. An emergency meeting overnight approved a call for a truce to cover the Muslim holiday of Eid and beyond. Cordelia Kretschmar has more.
This is what the truce looked like last night. Israeli strikes had resumed on Gaza. Hamas was firing rockets into southern Israel again. And this morning, Israel's reporting further attacks by Hamas. Each side blaming the other for failing to cease fire.
We've accepted 5 ceasefires, acted upon them. Hamas has rejected every single one of them, violated them.
The PR war continues too. Israel claims this footage shows Hamas launching rockets from a school in Gaza. Proof, they say, that Hamas is using civilians as human shields. In a phone call, President Obama told Mr. Netanyahu the US is getting more concerned about the rising Palestinian death toll. He urged an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. A call echoed by the UN today, who just this morning demanded a fully respected ceasefire based on the Egyptian initiative. Cordelia Kretschmar, Good Morning Britain.
GPs are warning that they are now so overstretched there will be more than 40 million occasions this year where patients are turned away. The Royal College of GPs says the system has been brought to its knees by a lack of investment. The government insists that it has cut targets to free up GPs' time. Thousands of passport office workers go on strike today, meaning holidaymakers could have to wait even longer to get their application. Thank you very much, Sean. 400-metre Commonwealth gold medal winner Roger Black is with us this morning. And you won yours in Edinburgh, didn't you?
I did,
back
long
in
time ago.
1986.
Yeah, all those years ago.
Yeah, we'll talk about how it feels to be, you know, a home nation on your own turf in a minute. But let's talk about Adam Gamilli, who is running in the 100-metre semi-finals today. Yeah. Looking ahead, I mean, how do you assess his chances?
Well, he ran in the heats yesterday and won his heat, and everyone's getting very, very exciting. But of course, these are the championships, and the championships about getting to the final easily, and then it's all about fighting for the medals in the final. So it's a bit early to tell. But you know, the great thing about the Commonwealth Games is it gives young, talented athletes who maybe we don't know that much about an opportunity, because championships are very different to just racing around the world. And of course, it's a home games. Yeah. You've got the crowd behind you, and as we saw in London 2 years ago, amazing things
and
can
Scotland
happen.
have got their best ever games so far, and there's still a week to go.
And it's not a coincidence.
No.
And strange things happen when you've got the whole crowd behind you, you've got the nation behind you, you've got the crowd behind you. People seem to find another gear. It shouldn't be like that, but it is.
No,
like
but what is that?
It's weird
stuff. Is it pressure? Is it confidence?
It's confidence. It's thriving on the pressure. It's expectation, and it's just taking your opportunity. And the Commonwealth Games gives young people an opportunity to make a name,
to show off. Yeah, and just, I mean, we're talking about expectation. The crowds have huge expectations, and obviously Mo Farah not being there, Jessica Ennis-Hill, lots of other big names not being there. Yeah. Do you think that's distracting from the Games?
It's disappointing because people want to see the big names there, but of course once the gun goes or once you're in the stadium you can only enjoy what you can see, and you're still seeing world-class athletes giving it everything. Now, Jess has just had a baby, so let's let her off on that.
She can be let off.
Mo has not been well, And you've got to give the guy, he's double Olympic champion, he's double world champion.
And he's concentrating on the Europeans
now. He can't do everything. Well, hopefully he'll be OK for the Europeans. But if he was ever going to take a year off to relax and take it easy after the last 2 years he's had, I think he's earned that right. I'm not saying he's taking it off, but he's not going to take risks. Now, he would have run on the 5,000 metres yesterday. He wouldn't necessarily have won. It was
fair enough.
It was a hard race. So why would he have to put himself through it if he's not 100%? Because when Mo goes to the track, we expect him to win. And if he doesn't win, that's a big story. So I don't think I have no problems with not being there if he's not ready.
So we have a hurdler going, Elide Child, don't we? And she, a huge pressure on her.
The story of the Games. I mean, she's the poster girl of the Commonwealth Games. She's like the Jess Ennis of the London Olympics. Elide Child is a 400-metre hurdler. She's not the favourite to win the 400-metre hurdles, but she's in good shape. She's up against a very talented Jamaican athlete. But when she walks on that track,
she's a very single-minded athlete.
But the noise in that stadium when she competes, I mean, if anyone wants to win a gold medal, it would be the story of the Games, it would be her. And she's a very good competitor. So she's going to be fighting for the medals, but that will probably be the race of the Games to watch from a Scottish perspective.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Roger. Really nice to talk to you this morning.
Thank you.
Now then, imagine being diagnosed with cancer and told you only have a couple of years left to live, then find out